1969, the 100th anniversary of baseball. Somehow it just seemed fitting that it would be an amazing year.
Amazing!
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 Asombrosos!
In 1969, baseball instituted divisional play and the championship series, and the Mets, once baseball's laughingstock, won the pennant. Tom Seaver and a young pitching staff gave New York quite a treat, as the expansion Mets had never before finished higher than ninth. The 1969 World Series featured both the amazing Mets and the Baltimore Orioles, touted by many as the strongest team since the '61 Yankees. Winning the National League pennant had been a triumph for New York, but to beat the Orioles would take a miracle. But miracles were at hand, the gloved hand of Met fielders. With the series tied at a game apiece, Baltimore's Elrod Hendricks batted with 2 men on. Mets center fielder Tommy Agee came to the rescue, saving at least 2 runs, maybe more. In the 7th, Paul Blair came up against Nolan Ryan with the bases loaded. Another shot deep in the gap, this time right center field. It was Agee's second catch of the day, and this one saved at least 3 runs as the Mets won 5-0. And there was more in Game 4, 9th inning. Tom Seaver had a 1-0 lead as Brooks Robinson came up with 1 out and runners on first and third. Out of nowhere came right fielder Ron Swoboda. The tying run did score, but it could have been much worse. The Mets' defense was simply superb, while the vaunted Orioles' defense was coming up just a little short, like in this 10th inning bloop double into right that put the potential winning run on second base. Pinch hitter J.C. Martin was ordered to bunt. Martin ran to first inside the baseline, and the throw hit him, a controversial play. The winning run scored, and the Mets now led 3-1. All of New York was caught up in a fairy tale. Jerry Koosman in Game 5 gave up 3 early runs, but the Mets came back to take a 5-3 lead, and in the 9th, Koosman needed just 1 final out. The New York Mets were world champions. A miracle? Maybe. But timely hitting, tight defense, and stingy pitching didn't hurt. It was a great win for the Mets, a storybook ending to an amazing season. Still, another amazing event took place in 1970 when Curt Flood refused to report to the Phillies following a trade. Flood defied the status quo by challenging the reserve clause and thereby laid the groundwork for free agency. In 1970, Baltimore manager Earl Weaver got another chance. His staff of Jim Palmer, Dave McNally, and the clever screwballer Mike Cuellar all won 20, and the Birds took the pennant by winning 108 games. The 1970 World Series was rated just about even. It was a classic matchup of heavyweights, Cincinnati slugging Big Red Machine and the Baltimore Orioles, who did everything well. One look at MVPs Johnny Bench and Boog Powell told fans what to expect. But to Frank Robinson and the Orioles, the series meant something extra. The Mets had held them to a 146 batting average in '69. So Frank and his buddies took out their frustration on the Reds. Especially sweet revenge for Robinson, who 5 years prior had been traded to Baltimore from Cincinnati. But this series is remembered primarily for another Robinson, Brooks Robinson. Cincinnati pitchers were also in awe. Brooks had a .267 lifetime average, but in this series he batted .429 with 2 home runs. And this one-man show spelled doom for the Big Red Machine. In Game 5, Mike Cuellar looked for the final out that would crown the Birds champs, and Poetic Justice directed the ball to the right man. The Orioles' year-long flight to vindication was over, but Brooks Robinson's acrobatic tour de force in the spotlight of the World Series was just the first of several such performances in the 1970s. In 1971, the Orioles won their division by 12 games and went on to the World Series to face the Pittsburgh Pirates of manager Danny Murtaugh. The Pirates had come off an exceptional season led by right fielder Roberto Clemente, who hit .341. Clemente was a 4-time batting champ and in 17 years had compiled a lifetime average of .317. The 1971 series was only Clemente's second, but it became his national showcase. Against Baltimore, Clemente displayed his enormous talent and effort even on a tap back to the mound. At age 37, this tireless performer reached the high point of his career. Clemente collected 12 hits in the series, 5 were extra bases, while batting .414 for a Pirate team that hit just .235. Roberto was not known for his long ball power, but delivered 2 home runs in the '71 series. The second home run came in the Pirates' 2-1 seventh game victory and enabled them to come back from a 2-0 deficit to win the World Series. But the next year would be Clemente's last, and his final hit was a double that earned him the coveted total of 3,000. For just 3 months later, while on a mercy mission, a tragic plane crash would take Roberto Clemente's life. In 1972, the Oakland A's won the first of 3 consecutive World Series. This team that won so many titles for Connie Mack in Philadelphia now belonged to eccentric owner Charlie Finley. Manager Dick Williams and players like Bert Campaneris, Joe Rudy, Ace Catfish Hunter, reliever Raleigh Fingers, Ken Holtzman, and Vida Blue combined to form one of baseball's finest but least harmonious teams. They became renowned for their turmoil off the field and their brilliant play on it. The irony of the A's is that they were masters of team baseball, winning the close games by making the big plays under pressure. If Charlie Finley had one real superstar, it was Reggie Jackson, a man whose home runs often took on legendary proportions. In 1972, the A's toppled Cincinnati in 7 games. The Mets fell in 7 in '73. And in 1974, the Dodgers lasted only 5. But Finley's dynasty soon crumbled as so many players left for other teams. 1974 was also the year Hank Aaron of the Atlanta Braves rose to the pinnacle of his 23-year career, one that put him among the greatest who ever played when he closed in on Babe Ruth's home run record.
It really didn't bother me that whole year, that winter rather. Everywhere I went, of course, people were talking about it, but it didn't bother me at all. I just felt like eventually it was going to come.
3-1 pitch. There's a drive into left field. That ball is going, and out of here. Henry Aaron has got in the all-time home run parade.
4 days later, on a Monday night in Atlanta with the nation watching on television, Aaron faced pitcher Al Downing. 1 ball, no strikes, and a date with destiny.
Swinging. There's a drive into left center field. That ball is going to be out of here. It's gone. It's 7:15. There's a new home run champion of all time, and it's Henry Aaron.
It's like somebody had put a piano on my back, and after I hit the home run, it was all of a sudden it was off on my back. You know, I was just like as light as a feather. It was just a great moment.
The base stealing of Lou Brock was showing no sign of slowing down in '74. If anything, the Cardinal great was speeding up. In Brock's rookie year, the Dodgers' Maury Wills broke Ty Cobb's single-season record of 96 stolen bases. But then at age 35, Lou Brock stole a record-breaking 118. And 3 years later, in 1977, still another record, stolen base number 893, placing Lou Brock ahead of Ty Cobb on the all-time list. In 1975, while the Oakland A's were starting to come apart, the Cincinnati Reds were finally coming together. Every summer for 5 years, Reds fans were convinced that their Big Red Machine was on its way to a World Series title. But as good as the Reds were, they somehow kept coming up empty in their October opportunities. Sparky Anderson knew that the team weakness was pitching, and in 1975, the Cincinnati manager juggled his staff brilliantly. The Reds won 108 games with a lineup that included 5 All-Stars. Pete Rose at third base, the 4th regular position of his big league career. Joe Morgan, recognized in the mid-'70s as the game's best all-around player. Shortstop Dave Concepcion. John Bench, a future Hall of Famer, and RBI man Tony Perez. The awesome Reds were en route to a date in October. Waiting for Cincinnati, the Boston Red Sox, a powerful combination of veterans and youth led by pitcher Louis Tiant, the ageless man of a million motions, and left fielder Carl Yastrzemski, superbly steady at 36. Plus, the first player ever to be Rookie of the Year and MVP the same season, 23-year-old Fred Lynn. The Reds jumped out to a 3-2 series lead. The stage was set for Game 6, one of the most exciting baseball games ever played. An early Boston lead slowly disappeared. Then George Foster put the Reds ahead with a smash not even Fred Lynn could catch. In the bottom of the 8th, with the Reds leading 6-3, pinch hitter Bernie Carbo faced Raleigh Eastwick with 2 on and 2 out. The Reds' ace reliever got 2 quick strikes on Carbo, who 6 years earlier began his career with Cincinnati. But Carbo had 1 strike remaining. A game-tying 3-run homer by a part-time player named Bernie Carbo. The Red Sox were alive, and joy reigned in Fenway. It was a brand new ball game, and Cincinnati's spirits were dampened. Then, in the 11th inning with a man on and 1 out, Joe Morgan came to bat. Right fielder Dwight Evans took away a 2-run homer and turned it into a double play. On to the bottom of the 12th with the score still tied. This was the latest hour that any World Series game had ever been played, but no one had gone home. Leading off for the Red Sox, catcher Carlton Fisk. It was a fair ball and a home run. The fabulous sixth game of the 1975 World Series was history. And yet, for all of this, the Red Sox did not win the World Series. In the seventh game, all eyes were on Joe Morgan, who drove in the winning run with a ninth-inning Dying Quail single. Thanks in part to MVP Pete Rose, the 75 World Series was one of the most exciting ever played, with 5 games decided by 1 run. And because they won the seventh, the Reds prevailed for the first time in 35 years. In 1976, the Yankees were back in the postseason for the first time since 1964, and the focus was on Chris Chambliss as he came up in the ninth inning against Kansas City's Mark Littell, with the best-of-5 championship series tied at 2 games apiece.
Mark Littell delivers high drive. It's to right center field.
That's gone.
It is gone.
Chris Chambliss has won the American League pennant for the New York Yankees.
Chambliss had blasted the Yankees into the World Series, where they would face the Big Red Machine of Cincinnati. It was, by all accounts, no contest, as the Reds would take 4 straight, with Johnny Bench providing the finishing touch.
Get a boy! Get out of here! Get out of here! Boys, I got news for you. We're going to be world champions again, Sugar Bear. I got news for you. We are now going to be world champions again.
Well, Reds manager Sparky Anderson was right. The Reds did win the title in 1976, but the Big Red Machine was coming apart. By now, free agency in baseball was in full swing, and the Reds were not spared. Pitcher Don Gullett left to join the Yankees. Another dynasty also crumbled under the weight of free agency. The Oakland A's said goodbye to players like Joe Rudi, Gene Tennis, Raleigh Fingers, and perhaps their most famous loss, Reggie Jackson, who went to the Yankees by way of Baltimore. In 1977, Reggie began a tumultuous relationship with the Yankees and manager Billy Martin. But this just added to his legend. It was, after all, Reggie's job to get the Yankees into the World Series. And like Yankee greats gone by, he succeeded. Then in the 6th and deciding game of the 1977 World Series against the Dodgers, Reggie hit a 4th-inning home run to put the Yankees ahead. In the 5th, he hit another one. The stage was set for Mr. October. Up till now, only Babe Ruth had hit 3 home runs in a World Series game. Could Reggie possibly match the Babe?
There's a fly ball to center field and deep. That's going to be way back, and that's going to be gone. Reggie Jackson has hit his 3rd home run of the game.
Rounding the bases between 2nd and 3rd was probably my highest moment for emotion and just feeling good. I could have walked on air at that time. It was just a euphoric feeling.
Another home run feat took place in 1977, a bit further east, when Sadahara O passed Hank Aaron for the international home run title.
改めて構えますバッターボックスの王投球は第6球目インコース来ました打ったホームランナイスのホームラン750バットを飛び出しました両手を大きく広げて王選手今一塁キャンバスを回りましたゆっくりとゆっくりと感触を楽しむように今
In 1978, Willie McCovey also reached a milestone when the Hall of Fame first baseman for the San Francisco Giants hit his 500th home run. Willie also hit a National League record 18 Grand Slams. That same year, Cincinnati's Pete Rose reached that elusive hitter's plateau when he banged out his 3,000th hit. Rose would, of course, have many more, but it was nice to get number 3,000 in the presence of former teammate Tony Perez. Later that season, Rose tied the National League record by getting a hit in his 44th consecutive game. The next night, he looked to break it.
Here it is. He's up for his last turn. He's got to do it right here, or its streak is broken. Everybody's standing. Nobody's sitting down. How about that? Now the 2-2. Swung on, miss. Rose's streak is broken. The Braves win, and Rose is getting another standing ovation.
1978 was also a huge year for Boston's Jim Rice, who had 46 home runs and 139 runs batted in. The American League MVP led the Red Sox to a 14-game lead over the Yankees in mid-July. But the Yankees had an ace in Ron Guidry, who went 25-3 that year and would win the Cy Young Award. Guidry pitched like a man possessed, and he helped put the Yankees on the road to catch the Red Sox.
The thing that I think that helped us a lot was the fact that every time we play a different team, they would always tell us that Boston was still looking back at us. They were afraid of us getting hot and catching them. That was a little incentive for us to keep going and to keep trying, and we felt if we got close enough to them to scare them, then we could catch them.
The Yankees got that chance in early September when they met in Boston for a 4-game series, and the Yankees crushed the Red Sox in all 4 games, 42 runs in 36 innings, and suddenly the two teams were tied.
I'll never forget the way the players went about their business before that series. It was kind of spooky because everybody was serious, everybody was, doing their work, and it was almost like that feeling. We just knew we were going to win.
We didn't do anything right. I mean, the Yankees came in knowing that they had to win, and they swept us. They really kicked our butts pretty good.
1 week later, they met again, and this time the Yankees won 2 out of 3. With 14 games left, the Yankees held a 2.5-game lead. But Boston won its last 8, and at season's end, they were tied. A 1-game playoff was held on October 2nd at Fenway Park, and in the second inning, Yastrzemski gave the Red Sox a 1-0 lead. Boston eventually went up 2-0, but in the 7th, Bucky Dent, with just 4 home runs all year, was looking for number 5.
Well, I was looking for a certain ball that I could drive because we had 2 guys on, and I felt like, that I was going to try and hit something hard, and he threw the ball that I felt like, was my pitch, a ball down and in.
Deep to left. Yastrzemski will not get it. It's a home run. A 3-run home run for Bucky Dent. The Yankees now lead it by a score of 3-2. Bucky Dent has just hit his 5th home run of the year into the screen. And look at that Yankee bench.
When Goose Gossage got the final out, it brought to a close one of the greatest comebacks of all time, from 14 games out to the World Series. A Dodgers-Yankees World Series, just like back in the old days, but with a new name in the mix. Greg Nettles, the Yankees' third baseman, almost single-handedly took the heart and soul out of the Dodgers and dominated the series with his glove.
Guidry's pitch to Smith. Ground ball to third. Nettles dives, backhands it, gets up. Long throw to first. He got it. Here's Guidry's 0-1 pitch. Smash to third, backhanded by Nettles. Gets up, goes to second, got it again. Impossible. Greg Nettles.
Nettles was just too much for the Dodgers, who fell to the Yankees in 6.
Popped up. Munson. This could be it. He's got room. He's waiting. The Yankee bench on the field. Yankees are the champions.
But for one Yankee, it was the last championship. Catcher Thurman Munson, the rock-solid backbone of the Yankees in the 70s, perished when the plane he was piloting crashed in August of '79. The loss of his presence behind the plate and in the clubhouse cast a pall on the Yankees and on all of baseball. Family values was the theme in 1979 when the Pittsburgh Pirates rode into the World Series against the feisty Baltimore Orioles. "We are family" was the Pirates' theme, and they took their cue from Pops.
The Pittsburgh Pirates, first baseman, Willie Stargell. And now the man who brought you 5 American League pennant winners, the manager, Earl Weaver.
4 more for the 4 games you're going to win to win the 1979 Fall Classic.
It appeared Bill Madlock was mistaken as the Orioles went up 3-1, but families do stick together.
They may be down 3-1, but they have a good enough ball club. They can come back. They're a good comeback team.
And come back they did. Stargell's 5th home run of the postseason in Game 7 gave the Pirates a lead they would never relinquish. When reliever Kent Tekulve coaxed the final out of Game 7, the Pirates had completed one of baseball's more remarkable World Series comebacks. It really was a family affair. 1979 was also a significant year for Lou Brock of the Cardinals and Carl Yastrzemski of the Red Sox. The test of time, first Lou Brock.
The 2-2 pitch. Breaking ball. Hit off the pitcher. To the third baseman. No play. Base hit. 3,000 for Lou Brock.
Then the 18-time All-Star.
There goes the ground ball. Base hit. Number 3,000. Yastrzemski's got it. And all hell breaks loose at Fenway Park.
The Triple Crown, MVP, and for 1 month back in 1967, the greatest ball player who ever lived. There was something special going on in Kansas City in 1980, and it revolved around this man, George Brett, who hit .390, but who for a time looked like he might be the first player since Ted Williams to hit .400.
I went over .400 with 6 weeks to go in the season, and everybody came up and wanted to talk about me hitting .400, and at the time I was saying, hey, we got a 20-game lead. I mean, I got 6 weeks to go in the season, for crying out loud. I don't have a week to go. I mean, there's no way I can hit .400. That's when it was easy for me. It came down to the end of September, that's when it got tough, because I talked about it for 6 straight weeks with the media before and after every game. Then I tried to do it.
Besides that 400.
Stupid.
Looking smart in Philadelphia was Dallas Green, but of course it helps to have Mike Schmidt on your team. The Phillies won their division on a Schmidt home run in Montreal and moved into the championship series where they faced the Houston Astros. It was one of the greatest playoff series of all time. There were controversial calls, 4 straight extra inning games, unbelievable rallies by both teams. It all came down to Game 5 when Houston took a 5-2 lead and appeared to have it wrapped up. The Phillies countered with 5 in the 8th, however, to take a 7-5 lead before Houston tied it at 7-7. Then Gary Maddox, in the 10th inning of the 4th straight extra inning game, put the Phillies ahead 8-7. Finally, when the last drop of excitement had been squeezed out of this series, Phillies pitcher Dick Ruthven brought it to a close.
The windup by Ruthven. Here's a punch shot to center field. Maddox racing over. He catches the ball. Phillies win the pennant. The Phillies have won the pennant. The Phillies win the ball game 8-7. They go to the World Series for the first time in 30 years.
Where they faced the Kansas City Royals in a nail-biting 6-game series that Mike Schmidt called his own. 2 home runs, 7 RBIs, and a .381 average for Schmidt, as the Phillies sought to win their first World Series since they started playing the thing back in 1903. And you gotta believe they prevailed.
1-2 pitch, fastball, got it quick. The Philadelphia Phillies are the champions of the world.
1 year later, Fernando Valenzuela took Southern California by storm. Fernando Mania was everywhere as the happy-go-lucky Mexican won his first 10 big league games. He would become the first player to win Rookie of the Year and the Cy Young Award the same season. But a year that began with so much promise was abruptly interrupted on June 12th. The lights were turned out all across the major leagues. For just the second time in history, a players' strike halted regular season games. Negotiations went on through a summer without baseball, the central issue being free agents and compensation to teams that lost them. 59 days after it began, a settlement was reached, and the season resumed with pre- and post-strike division winners to meet for divisional championships. After a 2-month wait, baseball was back, and so was the focus back on Philadelphia's Pete Rose, who got his 3,631st hit to pass Stan Musial and become the all-time hit leader in the National League.
Pete Rose?
Yes, sir.
This is Ronald Reagan.
How you doing?
Well, I don't know. I'll tell you. I've had as much trouble getting this line, or a lot. I think I had to wait longer than you did to break the record.
Well, we were going to give you 5 more minutes, and that was it.
We've been having some trouble here getting through, and I just wanted to call and congratulate you. I know how you must feel, and I think it's great.
Well, thank you very much.
Cincinnati had the best overall record in 1981, but unfortunately the Reds did not make the playoffs, for they weren't in first place either when the strike was called or at the end of the season. Not so the Montreal Expos, who won the second half in the National League East and entered the postseason for the first time. After winning a divisional playoff against the Phillies, the Expos faced the Dodgers with the pennant-deciding game taking place on a Dodger Blue Monday.
Here's the 3-1 pitch, and it's swung on, fly ball, center field. Dawson at the wall. That ball is out of here, and a home run for Rick Monday, and the Dodger bench clears to congratulate Rick Monday, who has hit a 2-out home run here in the 9th inning. And the Dodgers have gone ahead 2-1.
Rick Monday's home run helped put the Dodgers into the World Series, where they met the Yankees, as they had so many times before. The Yankees rushed out to a 2-0 lead before the Dodgers caught fire. Los Angeles won 3 straight at home, then finished off the Yankees at the stadium. Just their 3rd win in 11 World Series meetings with the Yanks.
Watson hits it high in the air. For the center fielder, Ken Landreau, this should do it. The Dodgers are the 1981 champions of baseball.
In 1982, the ancient Mariner, Gaylord Perry, now pitching for the Seattle Mariners, received a memorable memento of his durability.
The 2-1 pitch to Randolph. Swung on, ground ball to Cruz. This should do it. He's got it. It's over. And Gaylord Perry becomes the 15th man in baseball history to win 300 games as the Mariners beat the Yankees 7-3. My, oh my.
Another record-setting performance took place on the base paths, where Rickey Henderson slid into the history books when he eclipsed Lou Brock's single-season stolen base mark.
He's running. A pitch out. The throw to second. He is safe at second. He's stolen 119. Rickey Henderson steals on a pitch out.
Henderson went on to steal an incredible 130 bases. The 1982 Milwaukee Brewers cooked up something special for their fans, a team of hitters known as Harvey's Wallbangers. With their relentless attack, the Brewers won their first ever trip to the World Series. There, they met the St. Louis Cardinals and a rookie speedster named Willie McGee, who helped the Cardinals to a Game 7 lead.
Suter from the belt to the plate. A swing and a miss, and that's a winner. That's a winner. A World Series winner for the Cardinals.
The greatest feat of '83 might have belonged to Nolan Ryan of the Houston Astros, who struck out his 3,509th batter to pass Walter Johnson.
The thing I think I get the most satisfaction out of this record is that I've done it in such a short period of time. If you compare it to the 21 years that Johnson took to set it. And I don't think that Carlton will surpass this record, and if anybody else does, they won't surpass it in the amount of time that I did, and the short amount of time that I did.
But Ryan wasn't quite right, for Steve Carlton would indeed pass Walter Johnson's longtime strikeout record shortly after Ryan. And as the summer went on, Ryan and Carlton waged an individual battle with one passing the other. In time, Ryan pulled away and became the first pitcher ever to reach 4,000 strikeouts on his way to many, many more.
4,000! What a night for Nolan Ryan. What a night for the Astros. What a night for Big League Baseball.
Later in his career, Carlton would get his 300th win, and he too would strike out 4,000.
Here's the pitch. Swung on and missed. At 8:30 Pacific Daylight Time on August the 5th, 1986, Steve Carlton registered his 4,000th Major League strikeout.
The 1983 All-Star Game at Comiskey Park in Chicago was also historic, as Fred Lynn became the first man ever to do this.
And he drives it to deep right. Back goes Murphy, away back, and there it is, the first grand slam in All-Star history. Hit by that man, smiling Fred Lynn.
A more bizarre historic note took place in Yankee Stadium when George Brett hit a two-run home run with 2 out in the 9th inning to give Kansas City a 5-4 lead over the Yankees. Or did he?
The pitch deep to right field. Holy cow, I don't believe it. Home run for George Brett. I don't believe it. That lightning could strike twice. And Billy Martin now is coming out. He wants to take a look at that bat. Well, that's a little late. I don't believe it. I told you I had nightmares about this thing.
Billy Martin alleged that the pine tar on Brett's bat exceeded the 18 inches allowed by the rules. After much consultation and state-of-the-art measuring techniques, Brett, by the letter of the law, was ruled out, and the runs were erased.
I can't believe that. I can't believe that. Brett is upset, and I can't believe that, Phil.
Hey, I didn't do anything illegally, I didn't think. I have no regrets for what happened. It was fun. I seeing the pictures of me and the umpires going at it, and Joe Brinkman got the chokehold on me, and me pointing my finger at Nick Bremigan's face, and Tim McClellan, and you know, it was a good time. I really enjoyed it.
Later in the year, American League President Lee MacPhail overruled his umpires and reinstated the home run. The game was resumed with the Royals now leading, and this time Brett and his teammates stuck it out. In 1984, the doctor came to town. Dwight Gooden made New York his own, finishing the season with a Major League high 276 strikeouts. And along the way, he broke the rookie record for strikeouts in a season, set by Grover Cleveland Alexander.
Here's the 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. And a new Major League record, 246 strikeouts for the rookie Dwight Gooden.
1984 was also the year Reggie Jackson reached the mark that so many strive for and so few attain.
There it goes, home run number 500.
No team roared any louder in early '84 than the Detroit Tigers. Under the leadership of Sparky Anderson, the Tigers won 35 of their first 40 games. But the most thrilling of those early season victories came on April 7th, as Jack Morris worked on a no-hitter against the Chicago White Sox.
Got him swinging,
Propelled by their fast start, the Tigers found themselves in the 1984 World Series and making their first appearance in the Fall Classic, the San Diego Padres. Trailing 3-1 and down by a run in the 8th inning of Game 5, the Padres did all they could to avoid walking Kirk Gibson to load the bases.
He's coming out. I can't believe he changes his mind. I can't believe.
You mean you're talking about striking him out?
Yeah. He don't want to walk you. He don't want to walk you.
They give Gibson the left field foul line. Brown is in left. And there it goes!
The Tigers went on to win the game and gain their 4th World Series title in their 84-year history. In 1985, several more milestones were reached. Seeking to become the 18th man to win 300 was Phil Niekro, now with the Yankees.
One pitch maybe away from win number 300. Historical moment. That's it! Holy cow, what a way to end it! A strikeout gets his 300th career win, and I tell you, this is really an exciting moment.
And it was also in Yankee Stadium where Tom Seaver, who had 12 glorious seasons with that other New York team, delighted his family and faithful by also recording his 300th career victory.
Seaver is ready to work now to Don Baylor, and it's a high fly ball. It should be playable. Nichols is moving over. Nichols is there. The ball game is over. Seaver has won 300. He has become the 17th man in the history of baseball to win 300 games.
That same day, August 4th, Rod Carew looked to become just the 16th man to get 3,000 hits.
There's a drive to left field, base hit. There's number 3,000 for Carew. So Carew has joined the illustrious 3,000 hit club.
3,000 for Rod Carew, and his teammates are coming out on the field to congratulate him.
But the greatest event of 1985 belonged to Pete Rose, who had made a triumphant return to Cincinnati as a player-manager. The return of perhaps the hardest-working man ever to play the game.
I think the best thing that ever happened to me is to be able to locker next to Pete Rose. Pete Rose was a great player. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind or anyone else's mind. But Pete Rose was not a great hitter. He was not a great runner. He was not a great defensive player. But if you watched him do all those things, he was great at them. He did not have a strong arm. He did not have a lot of range. He could not run real fast, but he always ran as fast as he could. Every day was like the 7th game of the World Series.
If you work hard and you have fun doing it like I have, playing baseball all these years and hitting a baseball, and if you play yourself in a position to be number 1 in something instead of being number 2, go ahead and do it. And my philosophy is if you're number 2, don't be satisfied because you got one space to make up.
Rose never was satisfied with being number 2, a philosophy that led him to pursue Ty Cobb's all-time hit record. Then, back home against the Padres, Peach slipped past the Georgia Peach.
2-1 pitch from Shout into left center. There it is. Rose has eclipsed Cobb. That's number 4,192.
When you're standing in the middle of 52,000 people, no one around you to talk to, a lot of good things, good memories shoot through your mind. And what you really saw in the course of 8 minutes, I believe, was 3 generations of Pete Roses. 1, me getting the hit. 2, me thinking about my father. And 3, my son Pete coming out to congratulate me and then embracing me. So that's really what took place at first base after 41-92.
As 1985 drew to a close, the Cardinals found themselves in the championship series against the Dodgers, where Ozzie Smith did something left-handed he had never done before.
Smith corks one into right down the line. It may go. Go crazy, folks. Go crazy. It's a home run, and the Cardinals have won the game by the score of 3-2 on a home run by the Wizard. Go crazy.
This put the Cardinals up 3-2, as this was the first year of a best-of-7 championship series. But things looked bleak for the Cardinals in Game 6, as the Dodgers were 1 out away from victory.
Second and third, 2 out. 5-4 Dodgers, 9th inning. The Dodger right-hander is set, and here's his pitch to Jack Clark. Swinging a long one into left field. Adios, goodbye, and maybe that's the winner. A 3-run homer by Clark, and the Cardinals lead by the score of 7-5, and they may go to the World Series on that one, folks. You talk about a redeemer. Whew.
Jack Clark's heroics did in fact put the Cardinals into the I-70 World Series against the Kansas City Royals. It was a series that hinged on controversy. St. Louis led 3-2 and appeared to be 3 outs from the title in Game 6, but then a call at first base.
Little squibber to the right side. Worrell races over to cover. The throw doesn't get him.
Umpire Don Denkinger had called George Orta safe, and no number of replays apparently showing Orta to be out would ever change the call. The Royals came back to win this game 2-1, and the following night they took an 11-0 lead into the bottom of the 9th.
To Motley for the title.
In 1986, the #1 flamethrower was 23-year-old Roger Clemens of the Boston Red Sox. And on April 29th, he lit up the Seattle Mariners and established a new single-game strikeout record.
A new record! Clemens has set a major league record for strikeouts in a game. 20.
A once-in-a-lifetime accomplishment, one in which even Clemens got caught up.
It really was a special night, and it was just hard to believe that it happened. The game was such a hard-fought game, and it was a lot of pressure-packed innings, and watching my teammates over in the dugout, how they were going crazy, and my family was going crazy at home, and it was one of those things that I had an extremely hard fastball that night, and I was throwing it where I wanted it. Richie was moving in and out, and I was hitting his mitt. I just wasn't rearing back and throwing. I was doing a lot of good pitching, and I'm trying to keep it behind me and not let it get out of perspective.
It was one of the most exciting games, I'd say, in the top 10 that I've had in my career. I was DHing that night, so I was on the front top rail, the dugout in the 9th inning, screaming and yelling and clapping and doing all kinds of crazy fun things, which doesn't happen very often when you're 36 and you've played a couple thousand games in the major leagues.
It's an overpowering night of pitching. When you strike out 20 men out of 30 and don't allow a walk, you're doing something right and you're doing it consistently.
Pitching achievements for both the young and the not-so-young, as Don Sutton also reached a milestone in 1986 by picking up his 300th win.
1-2 the count to Gary Ward, 2 outs in the 9th. He's 1 strike away from 300 victories. He went around and it's over.
That anything really is possible is part of the joy of baseball. Such was the case on July 6, 1986, when Bob Horner of the Atlanta Braves went deep 4 times.
Reardon delivers. There's a fly ball deep left center field. Right looking up. He did it. Bob Horner has become the 11th player in baseball history to hit 4 homers in 1 game.
And in this year of individual accomplishments, perhaps a special award for timing should go to a remarkable right-hander from Houston who did a bit more than just clinch the National League's Western Division. His name, Mike Scott.
Now the hitter is Will Clark. He's 0 for 3. Swing and a bouncer. This could be it. Davis runs to the bag. Game is over. No hitter. Astros win the championship. Mike Scott has just thrown his first career no-hitter, and the Astros are the National League's champions of the West. What a way to win it. Holy Toledo!
Mike Scott and the Astros had vaulted into the 1986 Championship Series, which began in Houston. Their opponents were the East Division champion New York Mets. Scott continued his mastery in the postseason. Twice he shut the Mets down. Still, New York held a 3-2 lead going into Game 6. Bob Knepper took a 3-0 lead into the 9th inning. But the Mets wanted no part of Scott in Game 7 and managed to tie the score at 3 in the 9th. Then, in the 14th, the Mets went up by a run. Could the Astros come back?
Payoff delivery at a high fly, deep to left, down the line, and they go foul waiting. It hits the screen. Tie ball game, home run.
In the 16th, the Mets would score 3 more times, but still the Astros refused to die. Houston scored twice in the bottom of the 16th and had 2 on and 2 out against Jesse Orosco.
Swing and a miss. Struck him out. The Mets have won it. They're in the World Series.
In the American League, the Red Sox appeared to be no match for the Angels, who seemed destined to be the team that finally brought a pennant to Gene Mauch. Up 3-1, the Angels had a 5-4 lead in the 9th inning of Game 5. 2 outs, 1 on, with Donnie Moore facing Dave Henderson.
To left field and deep and down he goes back and it's gone. Unbelievable. You're looking at one for the ages here.
Indeed it was, as Boston went on to win both the game and the pennant. Could the World Series possibly top this preamble? Well, it appeared that Met fans would go unrewarded when Boston took a 3-2 lead in the series and sent Henderson to the plate in Game 6 with a score tied at 3 in the 10th.
And a drive to left. Going back on it is Mookie Wilson, and this one is gone. Henderson has done it again.
The Red Sox went on to make it 5-3 in the 10th, and the Mets appeared finished. But they closed to 5-4 in the bottom half and put 2 men on with Mookie Wilson at the plate.
And it's going to go to the backstop. Here comes Mitchell to score the tying run, and Ray Knight is at second base.
At that point, a big relief is on me now. I mean, I can't lose. There's nothing I can do to lose anymore. When I came to the plate, we were losing, and now I'm still at the plate, and all of a sudden we're tied. I can't lose now, no matter what I do. So I just want to make contact.
Little roller up along first. Behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win it.
Not even the rain that postponed Game 7 could put a damper on the Mets now. Still fueled by their remarkable comeback, they broke out of a 3-3 tie in the 7th with 5 runs in 2 innings. The Red Sox would counter with 2, but it was far from enough.
He struck him out. Struck him out. The Mets have won the World Series, and they're jamming and crowding all over Jesse Orosco. The dream has come true. The Mets have won the World Series.
In 1987, the Cardinals and Twins met in a World Series where the home team managed to win every game. And since the 7th game was in Minnesota with a decibel-shattering home dome advantage, it was the Twins who persevered.
To Gaetti, for the first time ever, the Minnesota Twins are the world champions.
Still another significant home run achievement was realized in '87 when Michael Jack Schmidt set his sights on that exclusive 500 home run club.
The 3-0 pitch. Swing a long drive. There it is. Number 500. The career 500th home run for Michael Jack Schmidt. And the Phillies have regained the lead in Pittsburgh 8-6. And the Phillies dugout comes swarming out to home plate.
1988 brought a first to Wrigley Field as the last ballpark in baseball to play just day games finally decided to lighten up. A big step for Chicago. Opening night.
I think you have to live and breathe and be a Chicago person to understand how really special this game is.
1, a 2, a 3, let
Well, the first opening night was rained out, so it was the Mets and Cubs who played the first ever night game at Wrigley Field, August 9th, 1988. Still another footnote to the 1988 season, Jose Canseco, who became baseball's first and only member of the 40-40 Club. First, the home run.
Here's a high drive. That might be number 40. It's on the way, and there she goes! Number 40 for Jose Canseco.
Next, the stolen bases. Canseco needed 2 to reach 40, and both of them came on September 23rd against Milwaukee.
He's leaning a little bit right now. He's running. There's the throw. Number 40! Jose Canseco, the first man ever in big league history to do it.
But there was more. Orel Hershiser of the Dodgers went into his final start of the season, needing 10 shutout innings to break the mark of 58 2/3 held by former Dodger Don Drysdale. It was a record many, including Orel, thought unattainable.
All through the whole streak, I said that there's no way that I'm going to break it because it was just so far off. I got into the 5th or 6th inning in San Diego. The momentum and the atmosphere and the enthusiasm of the crowd really started to build. It came to the point like there was a no-hitter being pitched and nobody wanted to leave their seat to go get a hot dog or something to drink. And so I just wanted to get to that point in the game. I thought that would be really exciting. And then to break it, it was unbelievable.
Unbelievable to go extra innings and give him a chance. The 1-2 pitch. Fly ball to right on a semi-check swing. Gonzalez, the record. Orel Hershiser, 59 consecutive innings, scoreless. The all-time record.
You never even think about breaking a record like this. This is the record that when people ask me what record in baseball is going to stand forever, this is the one I used to say. Now I think somebody's going to break it from me because I know I'm not any big deal.
Hershiser proved he wasn't just a regular season fancy by continuing his strong showing in the postseason and earning the World Series MVP award. But in Game 1 of the series, he was forced to take a momentary backseat to Kirk Gibson, the natural, who wasn't even supposed to play because of a leg injury, and yet somehow made his way to the plate with the Dodgers down by 1 in the 9th inning against the premier relief pitcher in baseball.
All year long, they look to him to light the fire, and all year long, he answered the demands until he was physically unable to start tonight with 2 bad legs.
I had said to myself, even though I knew I had physical disadvantages, that when I stepped out of the dugout, I knew the crowd would give me a favorable reaction, and I knew that would lift me.
And with 2 out, you talk about a roll of the dice. This is it. Fouled away.
We watched him swing and take the field, and he took the first few cuts against Eckersley, and he just looked like a newborn deer. We're thinking, oh, this is a terrible decision. Tommy should never have him in there.
3-2. So the Dodgers trying to catch lightning right now. High fly ball into right field. She is gone.
it's a moment that I certainly will never forget, or nobody will ever forget. And I thank the Big Dodger in the Sky for choosing me to be the guy to be able to celebrate that moment for the rest of my life.
With 1989 came the dawning of a new star, Bo Jackson, who played football and baseball and became a lot of people's favorite folk hero in a hurry.
Bo on the charge. Bo is there. Yo, Mama, run that ball.
Bodacious. Bocephus.
I'd call him Sir.
Money.
He's God as far as I'm concerned.
Well, Bo almost proved that to be true in his first at-bat of his first All-Star game when he hit a bodacious home run. Further revelations in 1989 led to the final chapter of the Pete Rose story. After 4,256 hits, Pete Rose was banned by Commissioner Bart Giamatti for gambling on the game.
The banishment for life of Pete Rose from baseball is the sad end of a sorry episode. One of the game's greatest players has engaged in a variety of acts which have stained the game, and he must now live with the consequences of those acts. The matter of Mr. Rose is now closed. It will be debated and discussed. Let no one think that it did not hurt baseball. That hurt will pass, however, as the great glory of the game asserts itself and a resilient institution goes forward. Let it also be clear that no individual is superior to the game.
Just 8 days after that speech, Giamatti died suddenly of a heart attack at the age of 51. He was replaced by Deputy Commissioner Fay Vincent, who quickly found himself thrust into a most unenviable spotlight. The forum was the 1989 World Series, the Battle of the Bay, between the Oakland A's and the San Francisco Giants. The A's led 2-0 and were getting ready to play Game 3 at Candlestick Park when suddenly the baseball world turned upside down.
They are. I believe it. We're going to win now. Can't go wrong with an earthquake in San Francisco.
First time I ever got scared in Candlestick. I got knocked down a lot, but this is the first time I ever got scared.
Man, the ground was shaking, man.
Hey, somebody's trying to shake us up. All right, Lord, I heard you.
The game was canceled and the series postponed as the Bay Area and baseball coped with the quake. When play resumed, Oakland won 2 more for the first series sweep since 1976. 1990 brought the dawn of a new decade as Ken Griffey Sr. and Ken Griffey Jr. were both on the roster of the Seattle Mariners, the first father and son ever to play on the same team.
It should be junior. I was here first. You should get senior. I've been around a lot longer. You should get junior. But you came on my team. No, so that means you get senior.
And Sammy shoots a high fly out into left center. And it's Ken Griffey Jr. taking the play away from his father.
It helps to have good genes, but it also helps to have a good fastball. That's what Bobby Thigpen discovered on his way to an all-time high 57 saves.
This could be Fletcher. Ozzie! Yes! Bobby Thigpen has just broken baseball's all-time save record with 47.
The World Series returned to Oakland in 1990, but talk of a Bash Brothers dynasty proved premature as the surprising Cincinnati Reds came up with one of the more unexpected 4-game series sweeps in baseball history.
Popped up into short right, foul ball. Bensinger wants it. Cincinnati, the champions of baseball for 1990. with an improbable sweep over Oakland.
As 1991 commenced, Rickey Henderson needed just 3 stolen bases to overtake Lou Brock for the all-time stolen base record. That moment finally came on May 1st against New York.
Rickey goes, a pitch taken, he's going to have it. He does! Rickey Henderson, no contest, steals third base, jerks the bag from its moorings, and holds it aloft, representing number 939.
Today, you might have been the greatest competitor that ever run bases in the big leagues. I say, congratulations to you. You are now truly a legend of your time.
Lou Brock was a symbol of great base stealing, but today, I'm the greatest of all time. Thank you.
But that very same night, Nolan Ryan unbelievably grabbed the spotlight back in his quest for an unprecedented 7th no-hitter.
The only man standing between Nolan Ryan and the 7th career no-hitter is Toronto's second baseman Roberto Alomar. Perhaps the most remarkable man to pitch in this game. That's it! Number 7 is in the books. The remarkable Ryan has done it again.
It was a crowning achievement of a 27-year career, one that crystallized the accomplishments of a man who, if not the fastest pitcher of all time, was certainly the most durable.
It's something I enjoy doing, and there's not anything else I'll be able to do in my life that will take the place of that and get that type of satisfaction. And it's the competition, it's the enjoyment of still throwing a baseball and trying to get hitters out. I guess it was kind of like I was born to be a pitcher.
This will be a 2-strike delivery. Ball strike 3, struck him out with a breaking pitch.
Has done it once again. Nolan Ryan, his 300th career victory, and you can charge up the bus for Cooperstown. Nolan Ryan officially has had his ticket validated.
I wouldn't say that I'm a perfectionist, but I get a lot of satisfaction out of my work. It doesn't matter if I'm on a mound or if I'm at home building something or mowing the yard or whatever. I get a lot of satisfaction out of doing a good job and being able to look back on what I did and say, well, it looks nice and I did a good job.
The 1991 World Series featured the Minnesota Twins and the Atlanta Braves, 2 teams that had gone from last to first in the course of 1 year. The Twins won the first 2 games at home, while the Braves won the next 3 in their park. So it was back to Minnesota for Game 6 and the Kirby Puckett Show. First, the catch to save the game. And then in the 10th, the hit to win it.
Into deep left center for Mitchell, and we'll see you tomorrow night.
Chapter 6 is over, and now you turn to Chapter 7. It's a storybook World Series. What's going to happen tomorrow in Game 7, Chapter 7? Oh my God, I can't wait.
Starting pitcher for Atlanta, number 29, John Schmaltz. Warming up for the Twins, number 47, Jack Morris.
And a pitcher's duel it certainly was, as Smoltz and Morris battled through one of the most tension-packed World Series games ever. On it went into the 10th, where the Twins loaded the bases with 1 out and set the stage for another unlikely World Series hero. Gene Larkin.
Minnesota bench hoping to get this winning run across here in the 10th. It's carried by Ian Gladden III. Ain't it a chance? The Twins are going to win the World Series. The Twins have won it.
The Minnesota Twins, World Series champions for the second time in 5 seasons. 1992 brought Phillies second baseman Mickey Morandini an unassisted brush with baseball history.
There they go.
There they go. There it is. One.
There it is.
There's two. He got it.
That's right. Tagged him. Unassisted triple play.
And just the 9th one ever in the history of baseball. Still another 3,000 hit milestone was reached by Robin Yount in 1992. 20 years he played, every one with Milwaukee.
0-1 pitch. Swings, and there it is! A base hit into right center. He's done it. 3,000 for Robin.
A few weeks later, George Brett was also rewarded for his illustrious career with Kansas City.
Tim Fortuno's pitch ripped on one hop off Overfelt into right field. Brett around first. He is safe. George Brett with a 4-for-4 night in Southern California has his 3,000th hit. He ties Roberto Clemente for 17th on the all-time list.
In 1992, for the first time ever, the World Series had an international flavor. It was the Toronto Blue Jays up against the Atlanta Braves, who were making their second straight appearance. Toronto featured some grizzled veterans like 91 World Series MVP Jack Morris and Dave Winfield making just his second World Series appearance. Once again, the series went down to a dramatic Game 7, with Winfield getting the chance to play the role of hero.
Dave Winfield has only driven in 1 run in this series as he tries to erase the painful memories of his only previous World Series experience in 1981. All the bad memories will go away with a hit right here. The runners go on the 3-2 to Winfield. Down the line, a base hit. Into the left field corner. White has scored. Alomar comes around. It's a 2-run double for Dave Winfield. And a 4-2 Toronto lead.
Mike Timlin then came on to close the door and give Toronto the title.
Timlin on it, throws to first. For the first time in history, the World Championship banner will fly north of the border. The Toronto Blue Jays are baseball's best in 1992.
1993 brought 2 new teams into the National League. The Florida Marlins set up shop in Miami's Joe Robbie Stadium, where they drew more than 3 million fans from all over South Florida. A couple of thousand miles to the west, the Colorado Rockies made their debut. All they did was establish 11 attendance records, including the all-time Major League single-season high of almost 4.5 million fans. In San Francisco, Giants fans were excited over the acquisition of free agent Barry Bonds, who immediately delivered dividends on the investment.
That one's high, deep right field. This has a chance. Gone! Home run, Barry Bonds. First at bat before the new hometown fans.
Bonds helped lead the Giants to 103 wins in '93. Unfortunately for the Giants, the Atlanta Braves won 104. Yankees pitcher Jim Abbott was born without a right hand, yet still managed to become a big league pitcher. And in 1993, he put the crowning achievement on a most inspirational story.
Jim Abbott has a no-hitter, 2 outs into the 9th, and he'll have to face Carlos Baerga. And the ground ball to short. Velarde. He did it. He did it. No-hitter for Jim Abbott.
It was an amazing accomplishment by Abbott, but not the only one in 1993. Whit witness one Mark Whitten, who had a pretty good month in just one game.
That is a smash.
Whitten is 1 for 2. And he corks it into right center.
Oh, into right field at the wall. Gone. 2-0 to Whitten. Into center field. Did he? Yes! His 4th home run of the game. He has 12 RBIs. Unbelievable.
Later in the year, Dave Winfield, back in front of his hometown fans in Minnesota, went looking for a place in history.
Here's David Winfield in his first attempt at hit number 3,000. Grounded towards the hole, hit number 3,000 for David Mark Winfield.
The Atlanta Braves were looking to make it back to the World Series for the 3rd straight year, but standing in their way were the upstart Philadelphia Phillies. And in a championship series full of ups and downs, it was the Phillies who prevailed.
Phils are 1 out away from the National League pennant. 3-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, struck him out. Phillies are the 93 National League champions.
Back in the World Series, Joe Carter and the Toronto Blue Jays looking to repeat. And it appeared as if they might, taking a 3-2 lead on the Phillies before heading home for Game 6. In that game, the Blue Jays jumped out to an early lead, and Toronto went wild with anticipation. But the irrepressible Lenny Dykstra brought the Phillies back, and they took a 6-5 lead going into the 9th. Then, with 1 man on, Series MVP Paul Molitor got a hit and set the stage for a World Series moment not seen since Bill Mazeroski some 33 years before.
So the tying run is at second. The run that would win the World Series is at first, and Joe Carter is the batter.
When I came to the ballpark, I told the guys, I told Ricky and I told Stu and Darnell Coles and half the team, I said, I've got my saddle on. I said, hop on. I felt this was going to be the time.
Now the 2-2. Well hit down the left field line. Way back and gone! Joe Carter with a 3-run homer. The winners and still world champions, the Toronto Blue Jays.
I saw Dave Henderson hit his home run against the Angels. Kirby Puckett hit his home run against the Braves. And to see how their reactions are, going to first base and everything, pumping fists in the air, that's what you live for in baseball. And I got that chance to kind of do one better. It was total, pure joy.
Total, pure joy. It happens time and time again in the glorious history of baseball. A bat, a ball, a glove. And so it goes.
The 2-1 pitch. There's a fly ball hit out to left. Waiting is Jones. The Mets are the world champions. Gary Koosman being mobbed. Look at this scene. Dennis Martinez ready, and the 1-2 pitch popped in the air to center field. Going deep on it is Marcus Grissom. He's got it on the track. Dennis Martinez has reached the ultimate, a perfect game against the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Ball and 2 strikes. Here's the stretch. The 1-2 pitch. Swing a hard ground ball. Base hit! Base hit! Down the left field line! Buck scores! Bills win! 4-3 on the RBI hit by Kim Baptiste.
Here it comes. Fly ball center field. Manning coming on. He's there. He catches it. Len Barker has pitched the no-hitter. A perfect game for Len Barker.
He hacked at the 2-0, now the 2-1. Line drive and a base hit!
Justice has scored the tying run. Green to the plate. And he is safe. Safe at the plate. The Braves go to the World Series. The unlikeliest of heroes wins the National League Championship Series for the Atlanta Braves. Francisco Cabrera.
There's a long drive way back in center field. Way back. It is. There it goes. A long drive. If it stays fair, home run. We will have a seventh game in this 1975 World Series.
We have a big 3-2 pitch coming here from Eckersley. Gibson swings and a fly ball to deep right field. This is going to be a home run. Unbelievable. A home run for Gibson. And the Dodgers have won the game 5-4. I don't believe what I just saw.